welcome to episode 7 of the podcast. This is the final World Cup special of the series, and this week we've got Andy Field.
I just think Harry Kane's boring. He's like dry muesli. He's like, you know, Wayne Rooney retires and you go back through his career highlights and he's like arguing with a ref and scoring a volley. He's doing an overhead kick against Man City. He's doing mad stuff. He's amazing. He's just the Matalan of football. He's not. It's like,
that's an amazing description of Harry Kane.
It's like a Volkswagen Passat, you know? He's not a good... He is really good at football. He's not going to break down. He's reliable. You want him on your team, but you don't want to like... You're not going to be like, there's my Passat. You know?
So this was the final episode of the World Cup special series. It's been a really fun series to record. I've got an interview lined up with Jake Williamson, who's an athlete and personal trainer, next week. It'll be very interesting to sort of talk to him about LGBT stuff, as well as the World Cup final. I'm sure we'll touch on it. And then I've got a World Cup special. I've got a Christmas special coming up, which is very exciting, which is a quiz about all of the sporting events in the year. It's going to be great fun. I've got 2 fantastic guests on for that as well. You're going to love it. It will drop in your feeds some point next week. But until then, have a lovely time with me and Andy. And here's me introducing Andy with a slightly sweaty face because I ran to the studio.
Hello and welcome to the Big Sport Pod. It's episode 7, I think, and it's the final World Cup special. And this week we've got the wonderful Andy Field.
Hello.
We'll be recording... Well, thank you, Andy, for the energy you gave us there.
I'm sorry. It felt like there should be applause, but obviously there's no one here. But I don't know.
This has been a thing that's happened quite often, is that the only person that's had applause so far is Katie Green.
Yeah, really?
Because with Katie Green... No, we all did, but I have been saying she applauded herself, which is unfair of me.
So I didn't come with the right energy from the hello.
No, and also there's only 2 of us today instead of 3.
She's American as well, so she's got like a...
She's got American energy.
So if I'd gone like, hello!
Exactly.
I mean, I'd sort of started it myself.
Should we try that again?
We can.
Hello and welcome, Andy Field.
Hiya!
There we go. It's the energy we need.
Yeah, I think we started clapping at exactly the same time.
Yeah, it just sounded like we were doing one rhythmical clap.
Yeah. Like sex. We were just making that sound. That's what it said. It's just that. And me going, hiya! Hello!
It's highbrow stuff. I'm so glad you've already got the tone of the podcast down. That is very much how it's been for the last 5 or so episodes. So we've it's been a while since I've recorded one. We were supposed to record a bit earlier in the week, but actually it's been quite good because we've had semi-finals and quarterfinals have all happened now. So we can discuss all of it, which is very exciting. I want to discuss FIFA. I'm not sure if you've seen Infantino's recent comments today.
Well, he said it was the best World Cup ever.
Best World Cup ever, everyone! I mean, the action's been very entertaining. I mean, if you admit all the...
Well, that's obviously not to be taken seriously. That's the sort of thing you would say if you were like, just an event organizer. Like you had to put on like a big fair and you'd be doing a speech at the fair like, it's the best fair we've ever had. It's even better than last, it's not.
It's sort of like to G up the team, isn't it? Like,
exactly.
Like your work do. It's just like, we've had the best year ever. If you just... we had a lot of losses, but the best year ever.
Exactly. It's like a hype man speech that's been like quoted as like news. Because obviously that's not like a quantifiable thing, the best one ever, That's different for every individual. Someone at the World Cup might have gotten like... It's just like a dozen blowies, just circumstantially.
That would have been his best ever.
Exactly, yeah. And then the guy he was with might have been like forced to give him a dozen blowies. And then, for him, he's not having his best World Cup. So
it's a lovely deep dive into the mind of Andy Field already.
You know what I mean? The best World Cup's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah,
isn't it?
And it depends if you like blowjobs or giving them. If you like giving them, it could have been...
Well, it's one example.
It could have been both of their best days of their lives.
Someone could have tripped over repeatedly and like they just keep landing on the same bit of their knee. And then in comparison to other World Cups they've attended, they think this one was...
particularly bad.
Yeah, it was worse because I kept hurting my knee,
One of the things he did say, see how quickly I couldn't work out how to go from knee damage to sort of smoothly move this on to one of the actually more positive elements of this sort of big quote is that he
said something good, did he?
He said something good, that he's rethinking the fact that we were going to have 16 groups of 3 and he wants to go back to groups of 4 because it has been brilliant, the groups of 4 historically, and they wanted to just have it as groups of 3, only people winning or losing. which just is so shit.
So that news is that they were going to change it, but they've changed their mind, so nothing's changing.
Because it's the best World Cup ever!
Yeah, true.
Dude!
Well, okay, so I guess for Gianni Infantino, the best World Cup ever nature really hinges on the four teams in the groups. That's what really hit home for him.
Yeah, it wasn't the fact that actually... There is an argument that maybe having it during the winter meant that the players were fresher and played at a much higher level than they perhaps would have done after a full season.
Maybe, but I don't want a Winter World Cup.
No, it's
not right.
How have you found the Winter World Cup?
I've been trying to at first I was getting festive with it and I was having mulled wines and drinking Bailey. Me and you drank some Baileys and watched the World Cup.
We absolutely did.
So I've been trying to treat as it's a festive treat of a World Cup. Try and find new festive traditions. But it feels weird that I'm not in a park getting sunburnt drinking warm tinnies. That's the World Cup for me.
It's a bit like when you amend the Christmas dinner for 1 year. You go, this year we're having goose.
Yeah.
And then it's and you go, well, that was a nice change, but let's go back to...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're thinking, why are we just such slaves to that, repetitive thing? Why can't we just have, let's just roast some little bits of vegetables instead of the and then you eat it and you're like, I want pigs in blankets.
So what you're saying is you want lots of different tiny little World Cups to make up one big World.
I'm saying it's been fun to try something different, but I want to go back immediately.
Thankfully, it will do. When we go to the Americas, that's going to be in the summer, and we're also going to be. I don't know who the next host is going to be, but there's potential for it to be potentially Morocco. I heard.
There's other seasons though, Now that we've tried winter,
what, autumn?
Autumn, yeah, but I'm thinking rainy season.
Monsoon season.
Yeah.
I don't know when monsoon season is in Malaysia, but we could have a Malaysian World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel in Malaysia and around that area, there's it's either not monsoon season or it's monsoon season.
And it follows the rule of illegality for gay people. If we could just make sure that we're again in Morocco. I mean, we could genuinely have maybe World Cup should only be held in non-gay friendly locations now because it's the best World Cup ever.
Thailand's got to be cool with it though. They've got one.
Actually, I think that it is technically illegal there.
Is it technically?
But or frowned upon.
I've been Thailand. I reckon.
I mean,
I reckon
we all know that we all know the loophole, but I don't actually think it's particularly legal there.
Yeah, fair
but
enough.
I don't know that for sure, so don't quote me on it. But yes, so it's the best World Cup ever. Do you agree?
No, of course not. No, I think it might be the worst one. But that's also why I was disappointed that we went out, because there was a bit of me that felt like if we are going to win a World Cup, we would win the most depressing one to win. No, I mean, that would be classic.
Andrew White said exactly that same thing. It was just it would be so us if we win the one that everyone hated.
So now I'm sort of hoping for a Saudi Arabia World Cup where they just up the atrocities. Just even more people die making the stadiums. There's a journalist is murdered at the opening ceremony. It's just all
as part of the opening.
It's
ceremony.
a bit of it.
Yeah.
And it's just all mired in controversy, and we just destroy everyone.
It feels
we just have our best World Cup.
You just want them to really lean into evil. We want this to be an evil organisation. Well, I wouldn't put it past FIFA. If they paid them a lot.
Those iconic pictures of Bobby Moore being held up by everyone with the trophy, but in the background of our pictures, everyone in the crowd would have sort of handcuffs on. They'd be just really upset.
They're playing in a prison.
Yeah. We're basically going to win the World Cup version of Mean Machine. Yeah. I think once standards dip that low, that might be our time. Win. That would be the time that we'll win one.
So the prediction is that maybe in the next 10, 20 years, we'll win the most evil World Cup.
I just think it's more likely that we would win an unethical World Cup. Just if it's possible for there to be an ethical World Cup.
I was going to say, when's the next ethical one?
I think the less ethical the World Cup, the more typical it would be for us to finally win one.
Because even if you look at the Americas one, people can still go, it's not very eco-friendly.
Yeah.
Because it's not very eco-friendly because everyone's going to be flying everywhere. It's just going to be loads of planes.
None of them are.
They're going to race the planes to each location. It could be add to the point system. I wouldn't put that past FIFA either. Just add some excitement.
It'd be a bit like how I'd imagine it'd be if you were got a gold medal at the Nazi Olympics, And the pictures in retrospect are at the time you were trying to respect the culture and you did the salute. and but you're just there. You're just running. You love running. You know.
Hands up, not that like that, but my other hands up. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good on me. But at the time,
I know
Nazi was all the rage.
Like they hadn't done the big bit yet. You know, like you're just
the big bit.
They hadn't gone turbo Nazi. But I'm saying it
was like a tepid little hybrid Nazi.
Because sod's law, that was the sort of Olympics that England would be good at.
Yeah.
You know, so in retrospect, all of our memories would be sullied. And we'd wait all of this time to finally win a World Cup, you know, however many years of hurt, and then finally get one. And it would be really appropriate for the feeling that we have as we lift it to be like, oh, fuck.
And it's made of ashes.
Oh, it's sad, actually.
Actually made of ashes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll move us gently on from that, I'm going to be honest,
please.
Abstract depiction of the future of the World Cup, which I'm very happy about. So I'm going to just do a brief notes of the quarterfinals. So Morocco did an amazing inspired win against Portugal.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Which I think we should mention first, because that was an amazing feat. And they'd done that against Spain, they'd done it against Belgium. They were the giant killers of this World Cup.
The teams they've knocked out are mad.
It's nuts.
All of the teams they played are better than any of the teams we played until France.
Yes.
But
and then they lost to France, so.
But that's the thing they say of like, if you play in like a league that, you know, goes on for like 38, 46 games or whatever, like the cream rises to the top. But like a World Cup and a tournament, if you've got a team like Morocco who just like are really good at not being beaten, like they're not.
They'll be like a Southampton-y type mid-table-y team.
Or they're Burnley-like in their organisation in terms of just like, we're not trying anything particularly. We've got these two really good guys who are going to zip about, and otherwise we're just going to like not break formation at all and make it really hard, and then maybe win on penalties. And they've smashed it, and they don't even need penalties sometimes.
You're so right. I think that like Croatia need penalties more than anyone
but Croatia and Morocco are doing the same thing of just being not amazing, but so hard to beat.
So France 2, Morocco 0 in the semis. Morocco did the amazing sort of. We've really not talked about Ronaldo crying.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh,
I loved it so much.
Highlight.
I'm such a fan of him
wandering down that tunnel, crying.
Well, it's just the thing that like I've been making this point recently that Ronaldo's put in all the physical work to be capable of being like a footballer in his 40s. I know he's not in his 40s yet, but that's been his focus, being like physically capable. But he's not like emotionally or mentally capable of like playing the role of a 40-year-old footballer, which is like not starting all the games
and not being like super quick, and losing a bit of like sort of gameplay.
Just being like a good team player, like old footballers like James Milner can play literally every position. So you put him on the bench, and then if a surprise person gets injured, you just put James Milner on.
James Milner in goalkeeper. I reckon he could do a job in goalkeeping.
He could anywhere, right? Yeah. And that's why he's still playing at a high level, and he's old. And then Ronaldo is like, I'm playing centre forward. All the play goes through me. You never drop me. I'm 39. Never ever criticise me. And it's like, how are we dealing with this guy? It's an insane way to approach this.
Zlatan, I think, pretty much just stood still until something very close to him happened, and he would just boot it into the top corner, and he'd still be an amazing footballer.
He was fantastic.
He did very little movement.
Yeah, and
same with
Ronaldo
Messi.
could do that as well. But like Zlatan also, in order to keep playing that long, just kept going to different clubs and playing for a couple of years at each of them, which I think Ronaldo's going to have to do, because I don't see how you can consistently be a useful part of a team. You're like a marquee signing, sell a load of shirts, and you can go off and complain about a different team next season.
He is genuinely one of the most baffling personalities in sport, I think. He's so hard to understand.
I don't think he is that hard to understand. I think he makes a lot of sense.
I think, actually, no. I mean,
because I think he was prodigiously good at football, has had like the most insane career you couldn't match up to possibly. He's so rich. He's so well rewarded for being good at what he does. And everyone around him is just so positive and gushing towards him. And you would just reach a point where you're like, I'm a god among men.
Yeah, I suppose you would. I think that's the thing. The thing that I find baffling is that you have so much in your life that it's still not enough. And I suppose that's actually very human, isn't it? No one's ever really happy.
Yeah, well, perhaps that mentality is part of the reason why he's gotten really good at football. And that's why I think Messi's the best, because Messi is just amazing at football. Just like videos of him playing as a child.
This World Cup is a great example of it.
I mean, this magic man who's amazing at football. You never see him trying very hard. Whereas Ronaldo, I feel like, has spent his whole career working out as much as a human being could possibly work out, being as regimented as humanly possible in order to reach the heights. Whereas Messi has been at the same height, if not a bit higher every now and then, you know, ebbing and flowing. And as far as I can tell, just like hanging out. And that's why he's the best. He's so
I love
sick.
it. I love watching Messi in this World Cup because he literally just walks.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he'll just hold off someone like Gvardiol, who's massive, like an absolute mountain, just with one arm. And you're like, are you like super strength? What are you, Messi? And now we have turned into all of the BBC and ITV footage. It's just been Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Who was it? It was Ali McCoist talking about why Messi's so strong. And it was like, I'm not going to do his accent. But
do
like,
it.
It's the
no, do the accent.
No, I can't do accent.
No, you did do the accent, Andy.
All right, I'm just going to do it without thinking and see how it comes out. It's the core strength. No.
Sorry, is he from the West Country, Andy?
Wow.
No, come on, Ali McCoist.
How do you say core in a Scottish accent?
Cure.
It's the cure strength.
The cure.
Cure.
And that's the listener from Scotland that we did have gone. Lovely to have you briefly.
Ali McCoy was saying it was the core strength.
He's the best.
So he's just got really strong thighs and stomach. And that's just like, he's like one of those weebles that wobbles and doesn't fall down.
It's true. I thought
that's him.
He is quite low centre of gravity.
Yeah.
He seems to be. His feet are like.
He's got a strong core.
I feel like his feet have like brains within the feet that just like sort of understand what's happening around it for him, because they're so like there was a 1-2 in the game between Argentina and Croatia that didn't look possible that somehow Messi found, and had he shot, it went down to the goalkeeper's lower right. Yeah. And it was a really good shot, brilliant. I just think he's incredible. I've always like I've sort of distantly gone, oh yes, he's clearly a good person, but I've never really properly appreciated it until this World Cup. I don't think.
Although I'm hesitant about Messi because everyone's got something bad about him, and he's quiet.
He's a tax evader, isn't it? That's his main thing.
Tax evade tax, but. Just
ahead of tax season.
He's a footballer, you know. What's he?
HMRC, if you are listening, I would just have a little closer look on Andy's.
He's about to retire and move back to Argentina, probably. So why is he trying to make Paris richer? You know, keep your money. It doesn't matter. I've gotten sidetracked.
Keep your money. I'm just
saying, because he's not that out there about what he thinks and feels. He might be. Because it's in retirement that madness comes out, where they go a bit like Matt Letizia.
Yeah.
And just start being like, because everyone was like, Matt Letizier's just golden boy. So good at football, one club man.
Televisual, quite good on that, yeah.
He's just got enough time to himself to be like, you know what? David Icke's right.
I'm going to look at all of the internet. Yeah. And then when I look at all of the internet, actually, I'm not going to look at all the internet. I'm going to look at the bit that's sort of interesting, because it's kind of like, basically, he is fallen hook, line and sinker for those little like BuzzFeed articles. You remember the little BuzzFeed articles? It's like 5 ways to the government are watching us or something like that. It just feels like he's just like, what?
He's reached a point where he believes like pop-up ads, and he's like, there's a sexy woman near here that wants to have sex with me.
Viagra can do what now?
Where is she? But yeah, so I'm worried that Messi might be harbouring kind of a less lovable personality underneath his incredibly lovable capacity to play football. But time will tell.
See, we know what Ronaldo's personality is.
Well, that's the
petulant child. But we really don't. You're right. We really don't know what Messi is like.
Everyone allows him to be an enigma because it's kind of cool that he's an enigma. But you know, Ronaldo suffers from more transparency than Messi gives.
Do you think, like, because it was in F1, Raikkonen always had a similar sort of like nothingness. He was quite aloof. But then everyone realised how funny he was when they interviewed him, because he just said exactly what he thought at all times without any sort of media training at all. I think if he had media training, he ignored it. Like, it was just like, no, this is all shit. I hate everything. And he would swear he's brilliant. Everyone loved him for that. I genuinely cannot remember seeing a Messi interview.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't know if Messi's known as having more of a personality in, you know, Spanish speaking.
Yeah,
is it Argentinian Spanish?
Yeah, Argentinian Spanish.
Yeah, like because he doesn't speak English, so you never see an interview with him being like sharing his thoughts in just a transparent, no translator subtitles way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think we
does he
glean.
Speak English?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, he went to like Spain when he was like 12 or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to. Yeah, then that was a thing that Argentinians found very difficult to deal with. That he didn't stay in Argentina for a bit before going to Spain, like other Argentinians.
Like he's the Argentinian icon, but really, what is he now? They're like 36.
He is now. He wasn't for a long time. He was seen as sort of like an Argentinian failure.
Of course, he didn't leave when he was 12 with ticket.
No, but
I'm just saying he's not lived in Argentina since he was 12.
Yeah, and the fan base really didn't warm to him throughout pretty much all of his, even though he was one of the best players in the world. I was watching a documentary and the fan base really didn't warm to Messi and thought that he was felt that he was bigger than his country and stuff. Yeah. And then when they won the Copa America, that's when they kind of forgave him.
But that was like recent.
Yeah, I know. It's been a genuine sort of battle between him and the Argentinian press and the Argentinian. It's not been a cohesive relationship between them. So that might also mean he's a little bit guarded because his own fans were very against him for quite a long time in Argentina. Not anymore now.
Have you seen he's got a really big dog?
Has he?
He's got a really big dog.
Like how big? Because he's quite a small guy.
It's a big dog. It's like on its hind legs, it's like the size of him.
Well, you've got
videos of him playing like keepy up.
It's like the opposite of you. You're a very big man with a very small dog.
I've got a very small dog. Yeah, my dog's tiny. I got it with my ex-girlfriend. And it made more sense as a couple to have that dog, and now I'm a single man with a very small, cute dog. I think she really suits your vibe. Thank you. She's very energetic.
She's like the polar opposite to you.
Oh yeah, she's got a lot of energy.
Yeah,
she's very combative. She's aggressive.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Not safe.
Because I went to watch the England game at Andy's house, and your lovely dog, with one of the best names in dog history.
Sophie Ellis Barkster, yeah.
Sophie Ellis Barkster.
Sophie for sure.
Takes after the barking thing.
Oh, yeah,
did not stop barking at me for the entire time because I guess she was nervous about me being there.
She was just livid you were there, yeah. But, you know... I'm not gonna not have people round because my dog's being a dick. Yeah. So I'll just have them around and say the dog's going to be a bit of a dick about it. But she didn't bark constantly. You know, we reached an accord eventually.
Yeah, it took about 45 to an hour.
Yeah, but a game's 90 minutes.
So we had a lovely last half an hour when we were watching.
We were able to focus.
It was very good.
I might have some people around for the final on Sunday. It's just going to be worse.
Because we play football together as well, Andy.
Yeah,
it's quite nice. I've had Hugh on recently as well. Another one of the comedians, football people.
Yeah.
I'm excited. So we're gonna play football. Are you coming to the football?
Yeah. I'm playing. Are you coming? Then?
Yeah.
We're just gonna go straight from football back to my house.
Love that. Gross.
It's gonna be so nice.
It's so good. I'm well excited. Yeah, I'm well up for that.
Can't wait.
Anyway,
got Argentina in the sweepstakes.
Did you?
Yeah. So
you lucky when you saw them lose to Saudi Arabia, which now looks even more like they've been paid off.
Yeah.
We'll take the payday. We're obviously the best team in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
We'll lose 2-1 to Saudi Arabia, and then we'll just win.
I mean, that is mad. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to win at all, but I also haven't chipped in my money for the sweepstakes.
Really? I'm pretty sure they asked you about that too.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I'll do that now, and I forgot. And now...
Have you only just remembered on this podcast as we speak?
I remembered earlier today. But either way, I realised we may as well wait because it might just be coming back to me, you know? Because I'm still in the...
It's a very confident statement. We'll go on to predictions for the final. But I want to talk about the England game because we put it off for long enough. A good half an hour into the podcast, I'm like, shall we talk about the England game?
Yeah.
I think it's the best we played all tournament and have done for a while. I think it was the best I've seen England play for ages.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm interested in silver linings. I think we lost and we should be ashamed and we should compartmentalize that and just let it fester. It didn't go well. I find that so when everyone's like, we smashed that. We didn't smash that. That didn't go well. We left having lost.
Oh, we were really good though,
yeah, of course. Yeah,
we dominated France.
But we are good at football.
Yeah.
So we should win the games, and if we don't, that's gone wrong.
So, right. I mean,
I just don't agree.
I like your competitive energy.
I don't agree that it went that well.
I think we played very well. I know. I'll forward my case to you. For you to
sure.
Shit all over it.
Please do.
I think our attack play and our genuine dominance in that second half was. I've never seen England just genuinely do that to one of the bigger teams. Just absolutely fucking smatter them with chances and opportunities. I've never seen us do that. And their goal just came out of nowhere. It was really deflating. I remember us just going, sorry, why's that happened? We equalised and then we were going to win.
Yeah, really
it just felt like we were going to win. And I don't normally have that confidence in England. And that's what hurt so much because it felt like we were going to win. We were so far the better team in the second half.
Yeah.
That just everyone put a real shift in.
No, but that's the thing is we're a good team, and the fans of the England team get so excited about us being able to do stuff. But I'd say like most of the games that we play in qualification or friendlies or whatever, we don't play the big teams that often.
No.
Like the majority we're playing, Montenegro or whatever it is. And like we bash them 7-0 and it's like that doesn't really tell us anything. Because it's much more useful to know if we'd beat Germany 1-0.
Although it's very important to note that Italy went out to North Macedonia, so it can bring up the odd surprise.
But I'm just saying that you've always got that thing in the back of your head of like, oh, we played really well there. Would we play that well against France? So obviously, for us to play well against France, that's encouraging. And I get why people left thinking we played really well there. But if playing well against France is like 10% encouraging, going out of the World Cup because we lost is like 150% discouraging. So I would say overall, really bad.
I can't argue with your math. I can't argue with maths. Kane, great first penalty. We both audibly went, that was a good penalty.
Was a good penalty.
It couldn't have hit it better. Second one, I think he saw a different corner of the goal somewhere about 10 or 15 metres higher. Oh, I felt so sorry for him.
I hate him. But I was saying that before he did it. He's a boring... Look at me, I'm eccentric. And
you are eccentric.
And he's not.
For the listeners who haven't seen Andy Field, who aren't watching this on
podcast.
YouTube. No, there is a YouTube video.
Oh, sure.
So you can just go and nip over or just type in Andy Field's name. He's a distinctive looking guy.
Picture someone who's got a fun energy. So I just think Harry Kane's boring. He's like dry muesli. He's like... Wayne Rooney retires and you go back through his career highlights and he's like arguing with a ref and scoring a volley. He's doing an overhead kick against Man City. He's doing mad stuff. He's amazing. And you watch Harry Kane's end of career highlights when he finishes and it will just be like 1,000 really, workman-like tap-ins. He's so good at being where he's supposed to be. He's so boring. There's so little personality going on. I want him to get red cards sometimes. I want him to shit himself. I don't
think he's got it in him. If Lineker heard you say the work tap-ins and like it almost doesn't count as goals, I think he would absolutely. He would do a tweet about you.
I know, I'd love him to. And I love Gary Lineker because he would do those and also just have this kind of like cheeky fun energy.
Yeah. True. He's got a personality, to be fair, whereas Harry Kane, I'm
not saying that I don't appreciate that style of football. There's so many strikers who have been like a lot in the box, like, Jermaine Defoe or whatever. I love Jermaine Defoe.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he was a brilliant tap-in, especially.
Most strikers spend all their time in the box just doing intricate little work and being positioned well. I don't like Harry Kane because he's boring.
Yeah, he's not a very interesting guy. It's funny, you're really persuasive because I was very pro Kane before, and now I'm just like, Kane's a piece of work. I don't like. Fuck Kane.
He's just the Matalan of football. He's not. It's like
that's an amazing description of Harry Kane.
It's like a Volkswagen Passat. He's not a good. He is really good at football. He's not going to break down. He's reliable. You want him on your team, but you don't want to like. You're not going to be like, there's my Passat. You're not going to look out your front door in the morning and be like, it's on the drive. I love that.
Okay, he's not got the Lamborghini sparkle.
I don't even need a Lamborghini. Just, like a restored Beetle. Just something fun.
Who do you like more than him in the England team that you would have liked starting ahead of him?
I like Ivan Toney, but he didn't get picked at all.
Because of gambling.
Ivan Toney's more fun than Callum Wilson.
But because he gambles on his own results.
Does he gamble?
Yeah, that was one of the main reasons he didn't get on the plane, was because he's currently in a betting gambling scam.
Yeah, great. So we're talking about someone with a personality. We're talking about someone who just does fun stuff.
I would love you to be an England manager. Guys. It was all very effective, and sure, we're 3-0 up, but none of you have tried anything with your nose on the floor yet. No one's done a backflip.
Backflips. That's honestly, can you even picture Harry Kane doing a backflip?
I've seen it on FIFA. You know when someone presses the wrong buttons for celebrations, and you see, you're like, Lukaku does a backflip. You know what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen Lukaku backflip, but whenever I'm playing Chelsea,
But I'm just saying that's such a mild form of eccentricity that you see in footballers sometimes. Do a little dance or a backflip. He's got that thing where just a really stiff, strong hand, and he jumps in the air and goes, ugh, like that, like a chop downwards. What is that? You're such a dweeb.
He's a bit dweeby now.
He is.
Is there a more boring footballer than Harry Kane?
I'm not sure there is. Ben White, maybe.
People always said Milner was boring, but I think he's owned that to the point where he's now not boring.
I think Billner's a different footballer, and I'll tell you what, he's fucking great. Yeah. He's so much fun. Milner's now interesting just because of the career he's had, of like the generations of football that he's spanned and things. But honestly, like a 26-year-old James Milner, same problem. He looks like someone that attends a checkout. Like he's not. It's just like. Huh?
I mean, Rooney always seemed boring.
No, Rooney always had that like bubbling undercurrent of like
anger.
psychotic rage.
Yeah. When he talks, when he looked at the fans, he goes, "It's nice to see your own fans booing you."
Yeah.
There's something lovely. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Everyone from Liverpool.
It was like he was here.
Is he from Liverpool? Yeah, I think he is.
No, he's
Evertonian, isn't he?
Oh yeah, Evertonian. But see. That's interesting, right? He doesn't have to do much. Every now and then he gets knocked out in his own kitchen. Like, that's fun, you know? There might be some sort of a like murky thing with him and an elderly prostitute. That's characterful. That's having the world at your feet and doing something with it. That's the other thing, is Harry Kane has so much money and so much license to do outrageous mad shit. And he's just fucking eating like flavourless pasta. I
bet he has a sofa
wanking
from DFS.
Still pictures.
I bet he has a sofa from DFS.
Of course he does. He's probably got a sponsorship. Yeah. DFS written on his shoes, and it stands for does a fucking shot. Well done.
That was really shit. Your DFS risk. You were so close to finding something. Come on, you're better than that, Andy. Score.
Don't fucking score.
In a quarter-final.
Don't flick scrotes.
A lovely...
Dad flicks scrotes.
Lovely.
Dad flicks son.
I'm going to ask you to stop now.
That's what it stands for, is Dad flicks son.
Dad flicks.
Because at the start of DFS, they were trying to think of a business, and the dad flicked the son, and it hit him so hard he had a brainwave, and he thought, discount sofa warehouse.
Right, Andy, do you think Gareth should stay?
I think it's up to him. Doesn't really matter. I think international management jobs seem to be quite weird things because you need such a high skill level, but you're not as busy. Like, it's like being a part-time football manager, but it's full-time. Like, the pressure is time and a half, but the actual, like, amount of games you get to manage and things is obviously, like, microscopic compared to the other things. So I think if someone's a good international manager, eventually they'll either retire properly, sometimes they're just really old and they've sort of, like, stepped back into international management, or they'll just eventually just want to get a club job.
That's a good point. There's a lot of old...
Yeah, well, because you would. Because if you were like 76 and from like, you know, whatever, a country that needed an international manager, or just manage someone else, obviously. But if you're like 76 and they're like, do you want to keep being a manager, but you've only got to manage like 10 games a year? You'd be like, yeah, I do. You don't have to deal with agents, you know, signing anyone. You've just got a national pool of whoever's available. Pick the teams. It's all about
actually
tactics.
Quite appealing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like slightly being on holiday. So I think Gareth Southgate's great, but I don't think anyone should have to do that job for that long a period of time.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves just through general.
Yeah,
because it's we say it's sort of like you're doing less management throughout the year, but when you are doing management, it is more intense than any club
it's
team
so intense in
any world, because you have got all of the nation on you, not just a portion of the nation, like in sort of the location of which the team is situated. You have got all of the world's pressure on your shoulders, and then all of the expectations from around the world going, well, England are going to win because look at the fucking team.
Yeah.
So I understand that pressure must be intense.
I would have thought if Gareth Southgate's been doing the job well, he's at a point where he could feasibly do the job continuously without having a breakdown. Because you never want to be in a situation with a job where you're like, I've just got to make it to this bit and then I can stop and I won't have a complete mental collapse. So I would have thought that he could continue as long as he wants to continue and the FA want him. But I wouldn't blame him for just being a bit bored.
Yeah. I think he might. I think he just needs a break. I genuinely think he needs a break. I think, who would you have instead then? Because Tuchel's been he's thrown his hat into the ring.
I would hire.
It's nuts.
I'd go for obviously, I'd go for the most exciting option. I would hire the only manager to have won a trophy with England. I'd hire Sarina Wiegman. Wiegman? Wiegman?
Yeah, Wiegman.
I made such a good point and then really backed out on how I said her name.
No, Wiegman. I think it's Sarina Wiegman.
I don't get this whole, because men manage women's teams, but no women manage men's teams.
Also, Emma Hayes.
Yeah. But I'm just saying I'd like to see female managers in male football anyway. And Sarina Wiegman's like undefeated, or, won whatever. She's managed internationally, and it would be like such a hard thing for Gammons to process. It would
be lovely to watch England's reaction to it, because she's unbelievably good. There's a really cute video out at the moment, by the way, where because who is it? One of the strikers for the England team, I can't remember who it was. Ellen White. There was a really nice bit where Ellen White is having a baby, and then it was Sarina Wiegman's reaction to it.
Oh yeah,
and it is so cute. It's like, they're just lovely. God, I'm excited for the next sort of international event in the women's team, in the women's game. Because
I don't want to poach their manager either. But the idea of a female England men's team manager is quite fun to me.
I love that.
I think that, the thing they always throw out is that once you get to like the Premier League and the higher levels of football, these male players are so egotistical that you almost need like Zidane in order to manage Madrid, because they're all so inflated that you've got to be almost like an iconic football legend in order to actually be respected and listened to. But I think if you're talking about international football, like what member of the England squad wouldn't have been fired up to be playing for England at a World Cup, to a point where they would even have space in their brain to be, to belittle a female manager in charge of the team. I think I think a female England men's manager would be fun.
I love that. That's the best. That's better than any answer. See, for me, my answer is Eddie Howe. I just want Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe's a nice boy, but he's also a shill for the oil.
Yeah, this is a problem because I'm really conflicted with Eddie Howe.
Yeah,
because I really like him, and I love. No, he's not really for my team. But
I'm almost certain you've told me Eddie Howe's hot before.
You've just heard that.
I'm not just labelling that on you.
No, good arms though. Anyway. He's just like he looks so sad all the time, Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
I think I'd be like, are you okay? Almost all the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at the football, take away the fact that he's a spineless man.
Yeah.
The football Newcastle are playing now is incredible, and I just attach that to what we have as in terms of England's talent.
Yeah, I think Eddie Howe would be brilliant, but he's also like at the forefront.
He won't be going,
Like he's got the best setup if you don't mind beheadings. Like if you're totally chill with that, he's got the best setup because he's going to be Newcastle are going to get massive. They've got so much money. He's got the tactics. They've got the infrastructure.
And if he gets replaced, it won't be on Eddie. It'll be look at what they've done to Eddie. Look at all of what he's done for the team.
I think he's in a good enough, because that's the problem, is he's in a good enough position with club football. And it seems like if people are in a really good position with club football as managers, they just stay in club football and manage a different club. Like we needed Southgate because he was just like a bit, like he's become so much more respected since he's been the England manager.
Yeah, and it's been a slow burn, hasn't it?
When we hired him, I feel like the reaction was like, well, that's nice for him.
Yeah.
You know, like, we missed that penalty, so maybe he'll do.
He was.
What was his club stuff like? I feel like
Middlesbrough. He was at Middlesbrough.
Really
It didn't go well. I think he was at Sunderland as well.
yeah.
I don't think any of them were really scintillating stuff, but I think what Gareth's proven over in international football is that time works.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, if you look at some of the teams now that have just invested in the time of their manager, have actually gone, do you know what? We'll stick with them. Look at Brentford. Look at teams where they didn't have a particularly good first season with their manager. Look at Potter. Graham Potter's a great example of this.
Oh, yeah.
His first season at Brighton was fine, but it wasn't brilliant. Then he got them promoted.
Oh, I mean, time is obviously always what you want to give a manager.
And I think it's amazing how many teams don't learn that lesson, though. Yeah. I think Chelsea being one of them. I think Graham Potter, they're going to have to really invest time in Graham Potter because... And I'm not sure if he's going to get it.
They literally never do that. They so rarely hire managers that they are going to invest time in nurturing. They get like big guys in and then they lose 2 games in a row and they're gone, regardless of whether they won the 40 before them.
Yeah.
So it's a shame.
I hate Chelsea.
But yeah, I don't know why Potter or Howe would do the England job when they've got jobs.
They've got jobs.
It's part time.
I would argue that the England team is a job.
It's full-time
England
sometimes.
It's I mean,
seasonal.
they still go around and watch the like.
Oh, they go watch games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do fans. They're considered unemployed if that's
Sometimes it feels like work.
Yeah.
Long
bus.
Oh
goodness.
Harry Kane passed over.
What a guy.
Oh guy. Anyway, over to the semi-finals.
Yeah, what happened?
France beat Morocco 2-0.
I did.
Did you watch this game?
I did. I watched it. It was just sort of expected.
Morocco played brilliantly in that second half. They really came at them, and it was like the sort of. It was a bit annoying that Hernandez scored it. It was sort of a bit of a ping-pongy goal where the sort of ball was pinging around and he just sort of fired it in. It was a bit like, that's a shame.
It seemed like, it was because France scored quite early, didn't they?
Yeah, and it was
like, I think that was sort of like the difficult thing because with Morocco, especially at the World Cup, the longer the game goes on and there's nothing between it, the just more frenetic and worried it gets, and the more likely Morocco are to just break up. Because so many times they just nearly nicked a goal against France.
Oh, they were so
good. And if the
yeah.
scoreline's 0-0, that goes in because everyone's even more stressed about that happening. You know, they're agitated or whatever.
I genuinely didn't think they had it in them to attack France.
Yeah,
and that's what they did, and I was really impressed by it. And it was a shame that they. I mean, I'm sort of. It's been an interesting year that the upsets have always come from sort of like teams that I find it hard to get
Yeah. They've got edgy stuff.
They have got. Because I feel like
how African is Morocco?
It's North African.
It
is African.
Africa's massive, and it's like they're saying it's a victory for Africa, but it's like so. Is it?
I don't know where you're going with it.
I'm just saying, like, is everyone in Africa being like,
yeah, they are,
or are the Senegalese like? I'm actually kind of still annoyed that we're not.
No, I think
it's just
no
honestly,
African
is everyone
team
in Africa supporting Morocco.
No African team has ever made the semi-finals of the World Cup. Every African team is supporting Morocco. That is a fact.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry.
I just feel like Morocco's not very African.
Even the Middle East, the Middle East is sort of supporting Morocco, but I suppose
that's where
religion.
Morocco is.
It's not though geographically.
I've not Googled it, but it's between the two.
I mean, it's
like when Turkey's in Eurovision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like sort of.
I did not know you had this sort of this.
I like spouting sort of unquantified kind of like quite edgy opinions without thinking about them.
Great,
that's what I'm doing.
I may or may not keep it in.
Honestly, I don't back anything I've just said.
You don't?
No, of course not. It's not appropriate. Why am I picking that?
I love the commitment to trying to work your way through it, though, was a beautiful thing to watch.
I just don't think Morocco's in Africa.
I mean, it is, and will continue.
I need to see exactly where it is.
It's so if this is Africa,
yeah,
it's there.
Do you reckon this is going to be more illustrative than maps or less?
Yeah, probably. My hands probably aren't the most illustrative way of explaining where Morocco is. North Africa.
Morocco. Just trying to find it by zooming around.
I'd go further left than that, mate.
Further left?
Yeah.
Oh, it's up there. Oh, it's touching fucking Portugal. It's nearly touching Spain.
Yeah. That's why it's so easy to get to. It's Africa. It's on the African continent.
Oh, come on. I know it's on the bit of land, but can we agree that that's very far away from Botswana? Do you know what I mean?
It is very far away from Botswana, which is also in Africa.
Come on, you know what I'm saying.
I do, but it's so funny.
You get it. I just don't think if I was Zimbabwean, I'd be that jazzed for Morocco.
I'm moving this on.
Don't.
Lean this in.
This is the whole
otherwise
thing
the
now.
podcast's going to be 20 minutes long.
But you get it.
I'm not agreeing with you.
You get the point. No, you don't have to agree to understand where I'm coming from.
No, because it's a fucking nuts thing to be
You
saying.
refuse to accept where I'm coming. All right.
I refuse to. Yeah,
It's
part of Africa.
Yeah, but
Nothing.
oh, you've got such a black and white binary view of this. I'm just saying they're like very North Africa. It's as North Africa as you go, really, isn't it?
I think there are certain things that are just fact, and locations. Anyway,
Sounded like Simon Amstel there.
did I?
You had a real just fact,
just fact.
yeah. Anyway,
I was trying to remember one of his quotes from Buzzcocks then, but I couldn't just off the top of the dome.
hello and welcome.
So, I was very impressed by Morocco.
Yeah.
I think they did very well. Argentina dominated Croatia. They didn't even look like they were going to even nearly...
Oh, yeah.
I was really surprised by Croatia and how shit their defence were for that first goal.
It was strange because that just kind of... all the things that they'd done to get there kind of fell away.
Yeah.
With Morocco, they kind of kept it going, but just were overpowered by France. But Croatia sort of got there and went like, this is where we tap out usually, yeah.
I think it was Alvarez, wasn't he? Just like basically just ran in a straight line. I've not seen anyone do this since on FIFA. Just ran in a straight line. And then the ball bounced off like several Croatians, but just sort of glued itself back to Alvarez, and he just sort of prodded it home. It was such a shit goal to concede from Croatia, and it was at first, and that just felt like the writing was on the wall a little bit then.
Yeah,
I was like, that's so bad.
Obviously, in both these games, you're expecting Argentina to win, then you're expecting France to win. But like, I think France-Morocco was more of a contest.
Yeah, way more.
Croatia was just... it just didn't show up, really.
I thought the Argentina-Croatia game was going to be far more of a contest because we saw what that happened in the Netherlands game where Argentina got pegged back. Brilliant. It was such an exciting game, the Argentina-Netherlands game. It was so good. It was like brilliant.
But that
World
might
Cup
still be like the best team they've played so far. I mean, who have Argentina played? That's a claim considering I can't think. But I feel like they've not been...
It's not, no, it really
like
hasn't
they've knocked
been.
out any like Spain's, Portugal's, Germany's or anything. Like
no, they've been pretty... They've had a relatively light run into it. Netherlands would have been definitely the
I think
hardest
Netherlands
team
probably the...
And they were a little bit... I've tipped them as a bit of a good team at the start, and they were all
the
right.
Dutch, yeah. No, they weren't really, though, were they?
Okay.
They went over first knockout round, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, but they played.
Didn't win their group.
They went out in the quarterfinals. They went through the round of 16, mate.
All right.
Don't diss the Netherlands.
It's not even in Europe.
What? It's just in the middle of nowhere. It's just top bit in Europe.
Basically Scandinavia, isn't it?
Can we talk about? We've talked about Messi a lot, but oh my God, his third assist for the third goal, where he just sort of basically turned Guardiola inside out.
Yeah.
That really was. I sort of got it then. I was like, yes. Messi is genuinely magic, and
it's that mad thing of being able to do that to another professional footballer, because like anyone can do that on the street for a TikTok against like a businessman who's not paying attention. But to do that to like such a world-class footballer in return, because that's the thing that you forget is that everyone they're playing against is as good at defending that specific thing as it's possible for a human being to be, and he still does it to them. And at a certain point, you're just like, what?
And Guardiola is one of the best defenders in Europe, if not the world. It was so impressive.
He's dedicated his life to not letting anyone do that to him. and then on the grandest stage of all, he just goes like, fuck everything you've tried with your whole life.
Messi at 45 years of age.
Yeah.
Sort of
holding him off.
Smoking a cigarette whilst he's doing it. Loved it. That completes all of the talking about the football. I want to end with a prediction for both the third place and final. So third place we'll start with Morocco, Croatia.
I think if we're going off the semis, Morocco are better than Croatia, but I would say that Croatia probably had an off day, and on their day, I would back to beat Morocco.
I think it'll be such a 0-0 game, that. I think it's going to be the most 0-0-y game that has been so far.
I think it might well do, and that makes it even harder to tell. But I'm just going to say, for the sort of panache and style, I love style and energy.
Yeah, you
I'm going
do.
to say Morocco.
Yeah, I think the world and kind of me want that to be the case.
It'd be a real victory for South Europe. And then I would also say, for the final, I mean, I've got Argentina in the sweepstakes, so I think I'm going Argentina. I don't think they'll keep France from scoring, but I'm going to say maybe 3-2 after extra time to Argentina. That's what I'm saying.
I like that. I think it's going to be Argentina 2-0. I think you think
they're going to keep France quiet? Giroud will get a goal.
I think France
blindfolded in the storm. He's a monster.
Point. I don't know. I just think France. They lost to Tunisia. They've had moments where they've been a bit shit, and I just feel like with all of the fans of Argentina, and that stadium will just be Argentinian. I just think that Argentina will just be like, oh my god, it's a fucking.
I know, but I don't think France are going to be like, oh no. I think this is their second World Cup final in a row. They won the last one. They're sick. Everyone that plays for them is a millionaire who does it all the time. They're not going to be like, so many Argentinians. It's just
you don't get
going to
this
be
on
like,
the
it's the World Cup final. Let's do this right.
You don't get that kind of analysis on the Athletic. That no. We were both just doing voices.
Yeah, but you feel me. It's not in Africa.
I do, Andy. This has been such a treat. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll have you back immediately.
I'd love to. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We'll shake hands in the most unusual of ways.
I was trying to get
there we go.
For the listeners at home, that was a car crash of a hand. That didn't go well.
Andy, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok under a range of names. They all revolve around Andy Field, because that's my name. And I'm bald and I've got a mustache and I'm a comedian, and I just feel like with that much information, Google will work it out for you.
Yes, and I saw you were on the BBC when the lockdown things were happening.
Oh yeah,
you had your BBC set there. That was a really good set. So if you haven't seen Andy's stuff, that's a nice place to start. But do go and watch Andy live, because he is genuinely one of the funniest acts. I watched your show this year at Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so fun.
Oh,
it was so fun. It's the only show you'll ever see. And are you doing that show still?
I've not done it for ages, actually. I want to film it, but I want to do sort of like a slightly different version of it.
Are you going to still be beating yourself up with a rake? Because you were black and blue by the end of it, like with bruising. It was absolutely...
Yeah, I stepped on a rake repeatedly at the end of my show as a finale, but I did it every day for 25 days. So it really added up. A lot. I would step on that rake maybe like 20 to 30 times. And it wasn't tall enough to hit me in the face. So I was just sort of bodying all the shots.
Yeah.
But it just added up so much that I just couldn't find a safe spot to take the hits anymore. So I've had a bit of a break from that show. But I think...
just for your own physical health.
I'm going to bring back a sort of like a 0.5, maybe like a Redux sort of director's cut version of the show. Tweak it a little bit, and then maybe film it and release it in clips and stuff. So if keep an eye out on my socials, that might happen at some point.
If you can watch Andy do, it's one of the most innovative stand-ups in the circuit at the moment. I genuinely mean that. If you want to see my special, it's out as well. You'll be seeing clips on my socials if you follow me. But apart from all that, thank you so much for coming, Andy, and thank you for listening, watching the Big Sport Pod. And I'll see you again very soon. Love you lots. Bye. Thank you so much for watching and or listening to this podcast. If you've enjoyed it, please consider donating to the Ko-fi link in the episode description. It will just hopefully help me make more of these. I produce and make all of them myself. It all comes out of my own wallet at the moment, and it is quite expensive. So I'd like to be able to make this a regular thing. So if you want to help me do that, please consider donating. Anyway, I love you lots. Until next time, goodbye.